Temitope Dada, known as Oluwadabest, is a commercial and documentary filmmaker based in Lagos, Nigeria. His media career grew from his love and passion for media and information. He has also directed several TV commercials and shot various documentaries for brands like Guinness PLC, Octa FX, Abeg, that's the Pocket app, PiggyVest, 9 Mobile, FIFA, GTBank, Bamboo, Andra Iyama, Sterling Bank, Nigerian Bottling Company, Total, Origin Nigeria, Bill Melinda Gates Foundation, and many others, locally and internationally. He leads the creative team at Film by DT Production Company. He is passionate about teaching and has been a tutor at Shoot, Edit, Repeat, a training for cinematography enthusiasts. Please make welcome with me the man, the myth, the legend, Oluwadabest.
The man and the myth.
The man and the
legend
myth.
is still in the making.
The legend in the making. Oh, I love that. Hello, Africa. You're welcome to another episode of CEOs Unscripted of Mr. Jake's Africa. This particular session promises to be very interesting. I know I say that a lot, but I really mean it, right? It's very interesting. And my guest today will take us through his journey, how he makes decisions, how he ensures that his business remains relevant, and how he's giving back. I find it personally inspiring, which I've told him a couple of times, and I hope that you find the story as inspiring as I do. I'm particularly interested about this, our guest, because of his decision-making process. There are some pointers he has to, when an industry is becoming obsolete, when to move. I find it personally inspiring. And I hope you will too, actually. I hope you will. So, I'll get right into it. It seems like you've always been making the right decisions. You were born with a silver spoon. Your dad is maybe Bill Gates and Elon Musk.
The adoption.
Hopefully. So tell us a bit about your upbringing.
I was born with a spoon, but I don't just know whether it was silver or gold. But I grew up in a family of 6. I had a brother and another brother, then 2 sisters in between, and I was the last born. Yeah, and I was the last born, so I grew up with a lot of love.
Oh.
And I didn't even know we were poor to a large extent until much later. But I knew that we were comfortable. Not poor, but we're like comfort. Maybe when middle class exists in Nigeria, we're somewhere in between middle class. But so I grew it that way. My dad is a technician. My mom was a tailor. But the family was okay. Everybody. I think the first time I knew something was wrong was when it was time to get into secondary school, and the option for me was public school, because all my siblings before then went to private schools. So I was the first introduction to real world. So yeah, and I remember that I was the only one. I went with my dad to Omole Senior Grammar School at that point to register, but that was like the beginning of reality for me. That okay, it seems that there's something wrong somewhere.
You had business was going fine before them.
Yeah, business was going fine. I think things were not necessarily as expensive as it became at that point. So, public school was still slightly decent too, compared to, I don't know now, so but I can't say compared to now, but it was still slightly decent and largely moral. Yeah, there are a lot of excesses here and there, but it was still decent that a middle class parents could still think that public school is an option. So I was the first introduction into public school in my family, and that started like a journey for me entirely. And that's like my upbringing. So last child, loved, wake up anytime I like. It was the period where there was like no mobile phones, so it was just I just leave my mom's shop, then just lost, then come back late in the evening. The country was still good. There was nothing to worry about whether you go missing or not. That's like my upbringing. I had a lot of freedom. I think that's like one of the best gifts I got from my parents. Was that gift of trusting and freedom.
Did you almost get in trouble that time?
I know you can't. When you remember the pro.
Oh my God. One thing that inspires me in your story is how you make decisions to leave an industry. Well, it's still within a segment of an industry, and you are always beating the curve, right? And we'll get there. So I know that running a business in Nigeria is tough. I want to start from there. I want people to have some semblance of relatability, right? Because many people are going through tough times, right?
Yeah.
So were there times that you say, man, these were really tough times in my entire journey, whether you had started business then or you're just starting or life? What were some of the tough times for you?
I think it would be secondary school transitioning into university. So I mean, one of the things that public school also came with is the baggage of trying to figure out work. I mean, a lot of times we're taking like the whips of work. For example, during my set, I got every of my papers that I needed except I think mathematics, which is like my favorite subject. So everybody in the school failed maths, and it was a popular thing then with public school. That's why at times most people would not even write
In public
in public school. They will get to SST and not write in private schools because either they decide to fail everybody in one particular subject or something. So it was a thing at that point. So, but thank God I wrote GC before, a year before that. So I had my complete papers. But I also now had the jam situation. So I had to stay home for like 5 years. I think I was home for 5 years chasing university admission. And it wasn't because I was in passing jam. I was passing jam, but I was probably picking the wrong schools because I'll get into post UTME and figured out that the course I'm trying to study, like 2,000 other people are trying to get into the
people that have
uh,
business.
yeah. So I was home for a long time trying to write jam, but that was also the period where I picked a lot of life lessons and also skills. So that was the period I learned graphic design. That was the period I got introduced into computer. So like I said, I had a lot of freedom growing up. So immediately after secondary school, I'll just get to my mom's shop in the morning, help her set up, then I'm off to the cyber cafe. So when like my other friends were like trying to master internet fraud, now I was just focused on trying to learn design and trying to understand this computer thing because I mean, computer wasn't that popular.
Yeah.
Like I remember my primary school, they tried like lined up to type our names on on a computer. So it wasn't that popular. Out of secondary school, that was when email address became a thing. We're opening email address. So yeah, those are like my first introduction into computer. But there were also tough times because I was trying to get into uni. I was passing all the exams, but I wasn't getting into uni. And I was also trying to learn design. I just be relevant in whatever I was doing. So it was finally when I was going to get into uni when I thought, oh man, let's start another life entirely. I lost my mom. So it was like a good news and a bad news at the same time. So I think that's probably still my lowest point till now. But that's like my lowest and toughest time because also my mom was largely funding my lifestyle at that point. And there was no fun coming from anywhere again. So I knew at that point that this is the point to figure out what you want to do in life. So imagine just getting into uni 100 level and at the same time you are trying to think of what business you can do to sustain yourself in uni. Because if you don't do that, money is not coming from anywhere.
Wow.
And I also grew up with a mentality of not depending on people a lot. So I didn't see myself as, oh, mom is gone now. I have to go and disturb my brothers, or I have to go and reach out to one uncle somewhere to be getting money. I always had the mentality of putting in the work and just be valuable and money will come. So I knew at that point of entering uni, I, before uni, I was already making like money here and there, but they were not like because I was getting funded. It was not like I was paying attention. I was just making that based on, oh, you are paying me for design. Oh, cool. Oh, you are paying me for editing this video. Cool. At a point I was working in the company and my salary was like I think 18,000 naira. Just before uni, but I didn't. 18 it was cool. I collect 18K. I know there's food at home. if I need extra money to get stuff, I'll call my mom or something. But that was what was happening until it was time to get into uni. Now you have to pay for stuff, you have to fend yourself, you have to get accommodation, you have to do this. So I knew I needed to take life more seriously. So it was I think that's my lowest, trying to figure out life at that point.
Wow. You mentioned to me the drama when you wanted to get your first space.
Okay, yeah. I think that was 100 level second semester. So first semester 100 level, I was cutting with a friend called Damilola Onofo, photographer. Shout out to Damilola Onofo. I was cutting with him from about, if you know Lagos, well, from Obawale, I'll go to Unilag. So I would wake up early in the morning, and my department is known for 8 a.m. lectures. So I wake up early in the morning, get a bike to Ogba, from Ogba, get a bus to Ianower, then do a bike to school. So that was like my route. But I knew that I needed to get somewhere closer to school.
Yeah.
And if an Egmo of mine was getting married, so he got an apartment somewhere around Bega, and he got a 3 bedroom. So he figured, oh, this 1 bedroom I'm using, I have is spare. But we made a deal. He said he was going to give us the 1 bedroom for 6 months. We can pay anytime we like. So we didn't have the pressure of trying to pay. So he said in 6 months he's going to get married. So we have to find our way after 6 months. But at least we know we have somewhere to stay in 6 months. So it was me and a friend of mine called Kingston Peters. So yeah, we're both saving, and he also gave us an offer that, oh, his wife is also moving out from where she's staying currently. So it might be a good thing to, after the 6 months, have money to just continue our rents there instead of having to go and look for space somewhere. So we just planned that, oh, this Egmont doesn't need money yet, so we can pay it anytime, but we'll just save up
So that
to, I mean, we're trying to save up for we're trying to save up 300K to be able to afford that rent. So it took us 6 months to be able to save 300K to get that space. But that was like a stretch because I was going to school, I was making money from photography bit by bit, but it's not substantial money. I mean, I was telling you the other time that the highest amount someone will pay you for second shooting for them at that point, so probably 15K or 20. 15K. If they pay you 20K, it was probably a good project. So they probably pay you 15K, and inside that you're trying to save up 15K to get 300K. So it was.
And the gigs don't come every day.
No, it doesn't come every day, except you're working in someone that's top,
Yeah.
and it wasn't like I was working with a lot of top guys, but I was working with decent guys. So yeah, that's how we were able to raise that money. It was also shooting, so we're both shooting at that point. But we raised that money and we moved out of that space, only to get to that space and figured, what we need is more than 300K, not 300, because it was like in the beginning.
To set it up.
Yeah,
You have
the space was empty and void, and that it wasn't like the house was like badly managed, not by the person, but generally like the landlord maintenance space. So we have to get a place to be somewhere we can stay, at least, because the room that we were staying for 6 months, we had also transformed that room to a very nice space. I can even the experience of staying in that room is another story entirely, because we moved into the room without a ceiling fan or anything, and our window was right beside where like generator houses were. So it was like, but we survived, and we got fans, we got stuff, transformed the space. It's normal. So we transformed the space, but we now moved into this new space, and this right was empty and void. So I figured, oh, if we are trying to save up money again to transform this space, it means that we would spend almost a year to before we're able to raise something that made sense enough to be able to make this space make sense. Then I looked inwards and I figured, what else can I do apart from this shooting that can bring money in? Then I remember, I mean, before then I used to be teens president in my church, so I was pretty much used to teaching people or like being vocal or being in front of people. So I figured, oh, this cinematography thing is not that hard. I can come up with a curriculum and teach people and ask them to pay for it. and now we have a space. At least we have location. We might not have any other thing, but we have location. And so that was how the first ever class.
Place you got that you used for?
Yeah, that was the very first.
Was it virtual or physical?
It was physical.
How many bedroom?
It was 1 bedroom. It was as big as this space. It was a big 1 bedroom. Okay. So we did a partition, a wooden partition, and painted everywhere white. I mean, it's just painted white. It look good. So we painted everywhere white. So
was it not stuff here also?
So the money I got from the class, immediately people paid for the class. Class was 25K if I remember well. Immediately people paid for the class. We went to buy a C. That was the first thing we bought. We paint and bought a C. So at least when you come for the class, you are not sweating.
Yeah.
And I think we also got like a big TV. I mean, life was good then. You can't because I think 10 people registered for the class.
Wow.
So that was like 250K. So in that 250K, we got AC, we painted the space, and we still got a TV. So yeah, that's how we transformed the space, and that's how my teaching career in cinematography started, basically.
Wow, that must have been really tough. You said there were times, back then when, okay, you're waiting for admission, but you kept training yourself in computer usage.
Yeah.
Were you tempted to do cybercrime?
Was I tempted to do? Yes, I was. I mean, a lot of, and which is why I'm not like very judgmental when I see people right now, because a lot of models that were around at that point, so a lot of people we consider like rich in the area or rich in the neighborhood were like the source of wealth was cybercrime. So it was like a model around, so everybody wanted to do that to be able to get resources. I mean, that's how you see, that's the perspective at which you view life. So I tried to, but it wasn't just working. With my mom's prayer too. it wasn't just working, it didn't just work. But I was also very focused on learning other things apart from that. I wasn't just putting all my energy into wasting. Also, I had access to computer. I had an Egmont Adubo too that owned a cyber cafe. So I was helping them sell tickets. So it means that I was in front of the computer almost throughout the day. So when I leave my mom's shop, I'm off to cyber cafe to sell tickets and also have unlimited access to internet. So no, it was because I was working, but they're not paying me for working. So my payment for working was free access to the internet. So yeah. So did I? No, I tried to, but it didn't just work. I just figured it wasn't my thing.
So how did you get into this industry? Shooting, directing, editing.
And that's a long story.
How did you start? When you say, okay, this is where I started?
And so I mentioned I stayed home for like 5 years.
Yeah.
I was,
but you were just learning computer.
I was just learning computer, but we also moved from. I mean, we were staying in Ojojo at some point, rented, but we moved to my dad's house in Mera. So there was a physical movement. So at that point where we moved, I did not have access to computer again. Okay. But at that point, I had also been very involved in the ministry and very active and very resourceful. So there was somebody that was working with a photography company that knew me and knew that I was creative. So the photography company needed like an editor to edit their video. But before that time, I'd never heard anything called video editing before. I just knew we watch film. But I didn't know the entire process of putting it together. So the person just recommended, oh, I know somebody that is resourceful, that is young and can learn stuff. So the boss requested that we had a meeting. At that time, we moved to Mero.
And that time he had not edited anything.
I've never seen the editing software before. So I had the meeting with the boss, quite young too. Luto Singbela, let me give him a shout out. Quite the popular photographer at some point, but he's not in Nigeria again. Luto Singbela.
Yeah. Shout out to you.
So we had the meeting and it was like, oh, what do you do? So I just showed him my designs, the designs I've done before, and like my knowledge of the computer. So it was like, oh, the role we need is video editing. So I told him, I know I can do it if you show me how to do it. literally. So he said, okay, no problem, I would show you around, but this is the software. So we had like a 30 minutes, 1 hour class, and that's the only class I had to be able to start editing video. So because I was already familiar with the computer, it was easy. It's just, oh, this is the cut tool, this is this thing. Now you have the computer, go and figure it out. And yes, that was how I started editing videos. So I started editing videos before I even picked up the camera. So I was editing video, and I was doing that I did that for about 2 years. So this was in between waiting for admission. So I did that for about 2 years, but I did that from, so he also made me an offer, oh, because you don't know this thing, what we'll pay you is we'll pay you TFE and feeding. So it was, I think I started with that company collecting maybe 8,000 or something. I can't remember the amounts now. And I was working 5 days a week. By the time I was leaving for school, when I was doing the company, I had probably 10x my salary at that point, and I was only working twice a week.
Wow.
So, but working twice a week now made me explore other options. So that was when I started getting familiar with the camera. So immediately I entered into Unilag. I figured video editing is very time consuming. It's not something you can do for a short period of time. You need time to spend to be able to edit, because at that point I was editing weddings and all that, and it was long. It was like a 6 hours recording. You have to cut down into 1 hour. So it means you have to watch the entire 6 hours. And the way editing was, I mean, the tools, the gear that I learned with, it wasn't memory card. It was tape. So for you to transfer that tape into the camera, you need to play back that tape. So if the tape was a long play, I think it's 1 hour, 30 minutes. And usually a wedding, they probably use like 4 or 5. So you need to watch the entire thing fully to be able to transcode it into the computer. So that's how I learned editing, and I knew I can't do that in Unilag if I want to get out. If I want to get out of it. So what's the next best thing I can do? Oh, I can shoot. I can use the camera. So I got, immediately my mom died, I got some money, so I used that to get a camera. So that was how I got a camera. I was like, oh, okay, I have a camera now. I can reach out to all these people I've edited for, all these people I've worked with, and say, I have a camera now. Because I mean, owning a camera then was a plus, because it's easier for them to work with you. They don't have to go and rent a camera for you. I know that. So reach out to them, I have a camera now. When you have a shoot, let me know. So that was how I started photography, just to make money, to be able to fund myself through school.
But at that time, it was video editing. So if you need video editing, you go edit photos.
No, I mean, it's like a similar field. It's almost the same principle, just different software.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so those days when I was doing graphic design, I was editing pictures, because you need pictures to do designs. So I had knowledge of Photoshop, I had knowledge of Lightroom, just based off of graphic design. So now shooting pictures was just like a easy way. And when you're shooting for people, you don't even have to edit. You just shoot and give them a file. So it was even more easier for me through school that, oh, I just shoot for you and give you the file, go to class. When you have another gig, you call me, shoot, collect my 15K, move on.
And that's how you saw yourself through school.
Yeah, that's how I did 100 and 200 level, until I was bored with photography. It wasn't just I was bored.
You're bored of making money.
It was money, but it wasn't great money. I mean, I'd also moved from a point of now just shooting for people to now having projects myself. So I had projects myself that I was giving me. I mean, people were paying 200K, 300K to handle their event or shoot at some point. But I wasn't getting satisfaction from it. So I figured, what was the next thing to do? Because one, I wanted to make more money. I'm never going to deny that. I wanted to make more money, but I also wanted to do something that is more interesting. And that was when I saw there's this guy on Instagram that's always posting very interesting videos. I mean, we're doing videos of shooting pictures, but it was just on a knowledge based of everybody that is around. But there was this guy that was just posting fine videos. I mean, those were points where Instagram was like 15 seconds. like videos on Instagram, not stories now. On actually, there's not stories. On the actual post, it was 15 seconds, but this guy would just post that 15 seconds, and it was beautiful, beautifully shot. So I was intrigued to know how was this guy doing this stuff. So he made a post online one day, and he said he was looking for call for interns. So I applied. And like I wrote the mail. I mean, I had sent a long time ago. So I know how to pitch myself. So I wrote the mail well, and I just sent it. And apparently, they sent a response, but I didn't get it. I didn't get the response. But one day I was at a wedding shooting. Please, client, forgive me. I was at a wedding shooting for a client. I was second shooting for somebody. And I got a call. Oh, we sent you a mail. That you got picked for the internship. Yeah. The class is starting this morning. Are you coming? We also want to confirm if you are coming. I'm like, mail. I didn't get any mail. Though.
We went to spam.
Maybe, and I didn't get the mail till today. Wow. But I was like, I'm coming. So I left that wedding, and I left Kingsley there. I left Kingsley there because we were shooting together on Kingsley. So I told Kingsley, this I have to go for this. Yeah. I don't know how you want to do this wedding, but we shot prep already. You want to do the rest. So I left, and that was how I got to meet Timmy Davis. Wow. So it was going to be 6 classes.
I don't know who Timmy Davis is. It's a big
Timmy Davis. Yeah, it's a big name in media space. Okay. So it was going to be 6 classes. We only did 3 because he's also busy. He traveled and went to do some jobs, but we only did 3. But those 3 classes changed my perspective of media in general. Changed how I see it, change how I see it being profitable, and how to approach it. So that's like that was like my beginning. Yeah, that was like my beginning of chasing cinematography. But I also learned something a while ago. I think it was maybe from Fela Drote or something. That's the gift of a man. It makes way for him. I don't know if this is connected in any way, but I knew that the 3rd day when he told us he wasn't going to be around again for the other classes. I mean, he told us like the 2nd class that we only have 1 more class because he wasn't going to be around again. I decided at the last class I was going to just buy a gift to give him. Wow. So I did that. But now that looking back, I'm probably the only person that shot with him after the class. Every other person just went their way. But like people, I now started actively working with him. I don't know if it's connected to that gift, but I know that I learned that principle and I applied it. And after the class, I was part of his team, and that opened me to another world of possibilities.
That's so brilliant. One of the things I'm learning is can-do spirit. And learning voracious, like constantly learn. Just push yourself. That thing you said when you said, that time when you said, I don't know it now, but I can do it.
Yeah.
I think that's very inspirational because people just are waiting for something to happen. They are waiting for a helper or something to come and bring them out of their situation. And then sometimes you have to be the one to pick yourself up, and get. So, I want to ask, you went from video editing to photo editing, because to video editing, to photography, then to
shooting videos.
Sorry, then to shooting videos, then now to directing. Do you still shoot videos?
Yeah, I still shoot videos because I have a production company and I'm like creative lead there. So from time to time I still touch the camera. But I don't advertise myself as. So I have a production company and I have my own brand, Oluwadabest. So Oluwadabest doesn't touch the camera. But Dada Temitope can touch the camera when you hire the production company.
Is there a reason that you went from shooting videos now say, hey, I only want to be directed?
I think it was a business decision, and also like maybe God. It's not even maybe, it was also God. Because I mean, I talked about moving to Alakpere. Well, yeah, that's like where the one room where we had to transform was Alakpere. And in that house, in like 2 years, we grew from being 2 to being like 6.
Wow.
In that house, 6 creatives, yeah. In that small, and we didn't know that life was difficult. We had no idea. We're having fun.
Wow.
I mean, one of the events that led to us living there, personally for me, was I figured, oh, this place is not choking everybody. But apart from that, I had a terrible experience with police. And I knew, okay, this is not a safe space to stay any longer.
Into the house?
No, that's another story. Do you want to go there?
I don't.
So one morning we woke up and there was, I think there was issue with maybe one of the network we're using it now. So I wanted to go and get a new modem. So I already gotten in modem the day before, and the next day the lady said we should come back in the morning to register it so we can use it. So I and Kingsley, we just stepped out. It was like 2 blocks away from the house. We just stepped out to go get the modem. And on our way back, just as we were about to enter into the compound, I just felt and someone hand hold my belt and dragged me. I was like, who be this? When I turned, they didn't wear any uniform, but they just dragged us and threw us into the bus.
Oh my God.
And they used us to do like Lagos tour that day. It was almost like every bus stop they go to, they're just picking people and throwing them into the bus. No question. Now, what do we do? It was when you enter the bus, you figure out that, okay, this is police because there's somebody on uniform that is police inside the bus. So it was when they dragged us in the bus, the house was dead. If you know Yakon, it was directly beside the Yakon. So the Yakon people were shouting, oh, these guys, this is where they stayed, but they didn't answer anybody. So they just dragged us into the bus and used us to do Lagos tour. And anyways, with street wisdom and all that, I was able to talk to one of the police when we got to the police station. I think around 7 p.m. So
what time was this? This was morning.
Yeah, it was morning. They picked us in the morning. So we got to the station.
For like 12.
Yeah, it was morning. Went in the morning like 9-10. So they used us to do Lagos tour from Bagada to different bus. They just picking random people. There was one guy that got down from a public transport that went to buy all these Bernal Select clothes. His clothes was literally inside the bus. Yeah. And they picked him, and girl was shouting, my clothes there. They carried the Bernal Select clothes, and so it was not like anybody were doing anything wrong. They just randomly just picking random people. And we got to the station around 6-7, and they told us to write. Yeah, they told us to write statements. I was like, we did what exactly are we going to write in the statements? When I was trying to say that, I got a slap. So I just calmed down. So I knew that, oh, we're not dealing with normal people. Literally, they were like telling you what to write. And if you did not write, they will write for you. So it's better you just write so that you don't write what you did not do for you. So I wrote, Kingsley wrote. But when we got outside, I figured these people just want to keep us here overnight. And me, I don't want to stay here overnight. So I just...
Were you with like laptops?
I was not with anything. I was not with a phone, but they collected the phone already. So you didn't have access to call anybody. Immediately they dragged us into the bus. They collected our phones. So from that...
It's kidnapping.
It's literally kidnapping. From that morning till evening, we could not reach anybody because they were with our phones. So when I got station, I just knew the best thing is to try and negotiate your way out. So I called one of the police. I'm like, oh God, beg, anything we need to do, I need my phone. Don't worry, when my people get here, I'll be able to give you something. So it was that guy I spoke to that went to get the phone for me, and I was able to call people that came to bail me out and Kingston.
For nothing.
So we would have slept in the station till the next morning for doing nothing. So I knew, oh, this neighborhood, if someone can pick me in front of the gates, is not a place to stay. So that's one of the main reasons. Personally, for me, we decided to leave.
Did they pick people who came out from the cars?
No, just once you look young and you're like,
maybe have dread.
At that point, I had a short dread, but Kingsley did not have dread. So if they picked me because of dread, this guy beside me it was on low court. So what's the reason? Step into the compound, yeah. So I just knew it was not enabled to say. So we moved away from Alakwere into Magodo. So we're now like back to what the question you asked. We're now like 6 boys staying in like a 5-bedroom. No, 3-bedroom now, we turn to 5, sha. 3-bedroom apartment in Magodo, and all of us were shooting.
Wow.
So I was like
minds.
If all of us are shooting, I'm one of the best shooting here. But if an opportunity is coming, it means that 5 of us were dragging for the opportunity because we're all shooting. So what else can I do that will be complementary to what everybody is doing? So I decided,
I hope you guys get.
I said, okay, let me focus on directing. If I'm directing, I can hire this person to shoot, and this other person can edit.
Where did you go to a school to direct?
I did not go to School of Life. School of Life and YouTube. I like consume a lot of YouTube content even till now.
So apart from that 30 minutes to 1 hour training of video editing software,
Yeah,
and the internship
with Timmy.
of
Yeah.
shooting video,
Yeah,
right? Last 3 days, have you done any formal training?
no,
That's it.
that's
YouTube.
all my training.
So how do you improve yourself? Because you can't just decide to start directing.
Yeah.
Like, how do you become one of the best directors, out of Africa?
There's information out there. That's why I tell this. I mean, even when I was consuming YouTube, it's not like YouTube had a lot of materials compared to now. That's literally what I tell a lot of young people, that you don't have excuse now. Like if you're not doing anything right now, it's your fault. Because there's literally information. If you type on YouTube how to be foolish right now, I'm sure you find like 4 videos, step guide on how to be foolish. I'm sure you find. So there's information out there.
Yeah.
So me learning directing was just any material I could find, any opportunity, anybody that I know that was doing directing stuff. I was probably reaching out to. I didn't reach out to a lot of people because I don't like begging. I don't like that DM. Oh, I'm a fan of your work. I want to know. I didn't do that. I didn't do that. I'm not sure I've ever done that. But I was more in, if I'm in close proximity, I try to learn as much by observing. So before then, I'd been on few sets, but it wasn't called directing. I was just creating like a pre-production document for people. So like help them create treatments or help them create storyboard or rewrite the script in such a way that it will make sense and we can achieve it. So I was doing that, but I didn't really call it directing because I'll still go to the shoot and hold the camera to shoot. So at that point, I was even questioning that what do directors actually do if I'm doing everything? But it was later on I knew that what I was literally doing back then was directing, but I didn't just call it directing. So that was the reason why I just, okay, so I can do this thing as a director. It's just to conceptualize this thing, do the brain work, and figure out to execute. So
it seems you're very self-aware. You analyze, you step out of yourself to analyze your situation and say, hey, I don't want to compete in this space. Like that's what fascinates me, right? Having to say, because not many.
I learned that from geography. I learned that from not like I learned that from, there was something in geography that a lecturer said that resonated with that. So he said, I tried to find it, but I can't find it online again. I tried to find it a few days ago to know whether it's actually a law or something, but it's something like man must go high above the earth and examine for him to be able to understand the world at which he lives in. I can't remember, but I think it's a geography quote. And that resonated with me that at every point in time, you need to actually step back to be able to examine what is happening, to have full understanding. And with that, you'll be able to make a better decision. So I learned that from geography.
I think that's very good.
And you need that a lot in directing because you need to be able to step back and figure, okay, what's happening right now? And be able to go back and give solutions because you cannot be in the midst of that and give a proper solution.
These are things that some people do. And I think I find myself, when you step back and say, okay, we've gotten to this point, but we need to move past. Some other people, all they do is just They know that they just fire on. You know, if the whole industry becomes obsolete or becomes too competitive and it's not a game of price, once it becomes a game of price, you're almost in trouble. Because now you must have big machines to be able to scale. By machines, it can be metaphorical, it can be physical, right? You must be able to. So this mindset, because will you say you got it from your dad, your mom? You were telling me, back then that, your mom, but let me just ask directly. This mindset of going, because I was asking you earlier that, do you have like that moment where you're like, you always have this can-do spirit. Like, where did you get it from? Was it your dad, your mom, a teacher, or somebody?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things, but it's majorly from my mom. It's me growing up and waking up in the middle of the night to see that she's actively cutting materials for her to go and sew in the shop the next day, or some days she's praying, or that middle of the night is almost every day.
Wow.
Whether you wake up to see it or not, it's like a practice for her. Then it's me seeing that she's even trying to do beyond just one business. She's trying to see what other business can she do to bring more financial freedom. Is me seeing how she's even trying to, I'm sewing every like ready to wear or everyday clothes, but now I'm trying to see if I can pitch myself to factories and see if we can sew factory garments. That's way before anything like that exists, or when factories usually like sew their garments outside Nigeria. So it's me seeing all those things, as seeing that she's very resourceful and very hardworking. So subconsciously, I think a lot of me and my siblings picked that, and we're always about what's the next thing to do to be able to add to what you're doing.
I think that's very. So you said something about the power of watching people.
Yeah.
Run me through how that has shaped you.
I think a lot of times we underestimate I heard somebody say it somewhere before now, that this one of the things that we can do as Africans to be able to understand this education thing is beyond just classroom. It has to be practical, because that's how we kind of get to learn a lot of the times, especially if you find out from like practices that are like medicine, medical. You see that doctors, after a couple of years, they move from just writing notes to actually now standing to observe. And we see that doctors apply that, we see engineers apply that, but we don't apply that in our creative endeavor, because you think, you need to give them 10 steps, they need to write this step down, and we forget the power of just standing to observe. That if you put somebody in a space and he's not doing anything, if someone is coming into this room every day now, just coming to watch you. When you come in the morning, you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that, and you are repeating that same thing almost every day. By the 10th day, when the person comes into this space, the person will try to do what you always do there. And that's like the model I use in also training people, or also when I get people to work with me, is the power of just building. And just building, and as you build and see what is being done, you are becoming that thing. And that's how I've learned too. So when I'm in spaces, I'm observing, I'm just looking. I might never ask questions. Most of the things I've learned today, I didn't ask questions. My wife usually say I'm resourceful. I do a lot of things, because when I hire like artisans to come into the house to work, I don't just allow them work and go and sit down or something. If way before now, I'm like literally with them, observing what they are doing. And just by that, there are a lot of things I can fix myself. I don't need to call anybody to come and fix, because over time I've watched them do this stuff. So and in scriptural too, as you build, you become. So there's a lot of things that can be learned by just observing, over just trying to instruct and direct.
think that is very salient. I think that's very salient. And please, artisans, when you work for him, ensure that he's not looking at you. Make sure.
It's too late. I can do a lot of their work now.
Make sure that he's not, is not looking at you. So I have a question. At what time did you say, hey, I think I've made it? I think I think I can sustain.
Have I made it?
No, at what point will you say, okay, it's paying off? Where you're like, it's not just sustenance. Like you've gone past sustenance. Like, okay, I'm making it.
Okay, I'm making it.
Making it, yeah.
I mean, I think my life has been like different journeys and different milestones. I can't remember my first 1 million, to be honest. I can't, because it's not a one-off thing. But I also have like a system where when I see the possibility, I increase like the benchmark. So if I've made 30 million before, my next adventure is, how can I make 40 million? Or how can I make 50 million? And I believe that if something can pay you 10 million, it can pay you 20 million. It's just a matter of what do you need to do differently. So
that is incremental augmentation, constantly improving yourself.
Yeah.
To hit, yeah.
So I mean, a major landmark for me, or major milestone, would be like the very first commercial. Not very first, but the very first big commercial I did. It was, before then, I think the highest I'd ever seen or imagined was maybe 5 million or 10 million. I was like, oh, that's big money, 10 million. If anybody can pay you 10 million, then you have arrived. But I got this commercial, and I had a producer to come up with the budget. And in my mind, I'd done estimation like, oh, totality of what this will cost should not be more than maybe, let me stretch my faith, 12 million we'll be able to execute. So I went ahead and said, okay, I'll just double this. And the client was like getting back to me on, what's the cost? We need to know so we can move on. And the producer was taking his time. So I just told the client, okay, I think 20 will work. With 20, we should be able to execute. Then the producer got back to me and sent me double of that as the budget. So I was like,
how do I come back?
How do I come back to the client? And that's one of my first lessons ever in filmmaking, that don't tell anybody budget until you know the budget. So I was like, I got back to the producer and I told this client already that this is the amount also, and this one we have to do it. It's not a we can let it go, because before then I'd never, and the client already agrees that, oh, okay, we'll let the people that need to know that 20 will work and we'll just move on with it. So I'm like, nobody had paid me 20 million cost price or profit anywhere in the world. Then I'll not have an opportunity to do a project at that scale and let it go. No. What do we need to cut down? So we're able to cut down to 24. So because the client was a friend, I went back to him and I'm like, sorry, based on, also like, know the right words, based on XYZ, and because we're trying to shoot a global, just English, we're trying to do it at a global scale, use the best camera, we need to increase the budget just a little bit. So I told him and we got it to 24.
Wow.
And that was like my very first. So I'm like, so someone can actually, so cinematography can actually pay you, now not even profits now, that people can actually just do a project that is worth 24 million naira. Not profits, just the entire. In my life, all I thought was, oh, the highest would probably be 10 M, and it would be big. 10 M would be big. But now, like, someone can actually pay you 24 million naira for this cinematography thing. I mean, I didn't make profit of the project because I gave the wrong budget. So I made loss from the project, but it became like my biggest project, and it opened my mind to like, okay, there's now a new benchmark, is 24. And I've done projects way beyond that.
Okay. You were sharing with me that you did one recently.
Yeah, I did a project last year, and it's an unusual project because I mean many people know me as a commercial director. Not a lot of people know that I direct documentaries. I I have like clients, documentary clients, so I don't try to market that. Try to market myself more as a commercial director, and just in the middle of, I think I was in the middle of a shoot or something, or maybe a conversation with somebody, and I got a call. I saw the number, I was foreign. I was like, "Ah, where did somebody for, not like I don't get foreign calls, but like this is strange." So I picked the call, and the person was like, "Oh, hello, my name is so so and so. I just started working with um Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We're trying to do a project in Lagos in like 3 weeks. I saw your profile. I didn't see a lot of documentary, but your work looks great. Do you do documentaries? Do you understand documentaries? Because I'm trying to pitch different people to the guys." So I told them, "Oh yeah, I do documentaries. I have a documentary portfolio and I have a website. So if you want to see some of my documentary work, you might need to go to my website to see." So I was like, "Okay, cool, that's cool to know. Let me communicate with the team and I will get back to you." And that was like the end of the conversation. And for like it was in next, he told me the project is in 3 weeks. So I was like, "Oh, maybe like next week they'll call me and we're able to solidify. I'll just move to the project." Next week I didn't see any call. I was like, "Ah, village people, they're active." And the coming week, so I didn't see a call. So like about 2 days to the end of the third week, I got a call. I was like, "Oh, sorry, are you able to join a meeting in about 20 minutes?" Or I think 10 or 20, I can't remember now. The team wants to meet you. Sorry, I've not gotten back since all this while. We've been trying to do a lot of underground work and all that. I was like, ideally, I don't join emergency meeting because I like my things to be properly planned. But I just told myself, I'm free now, I can join. So I told them, "No problem, in 20 minutes I'll down, send me the link." So they sent the link, and the link was literally, "Oh, hi, we saw your profile, we liked it. I'm currently in transit to Lagos now. We are coming into Lagos, but I can't talk a lot because my flight is in another 10-20 minutes. But so so and so, the person that reached out to me, has the brief already. She'll share it with you. But this is what we're trying to do in the meantime. So and so is coming into Lagos, and we're trying to document the entire journey of him from landing to Lagos and all the work he's going to do with the foundation till him leaving Lagos. Let me know the type of camera that you are using and all that, and communicate the budget with so so and so. She should be able to approve the budget. And because we know this is like a short notice, she will get you registered with the because I mean, if you know foundations, you know that they don't pay directly. They have like a company that will do the payments. So she will try to get you registered with so so and so company, and you'll be able to get your payments faster. But it might take like a week or two. But just let her know the budget. Since I'm not around, I won't be able to go through that. But whatever she says that whatever I said to her as budget, and she approves, is fine. So it was not a question of me trying to get the job, or again, it was like, I've gotten the job, I just need to let them know the cost. So I was like, cost. So I reached out to a friend of mine that works together, FedWorks. I was like, "How much is your documentary day rate?" So because so that I can also, because I'm planning on shooting 2 cameras, so I'll shoot one and you shoot one. So I need to factor that. So he told me documentary day rates, and I just did the same documentary day rate with myself. Did the number of days. I think they mentioned something that is very interesting that struck me during conversation. They said, "Also, please don't forget to add insurance." And one of that, I can't remember the one of that, like, I'm like, "Insurance, okay." We don't do that in Nigeria, but I understand. I also understood that, okay, I'm not dealing with Nigerians. Not like I've not had foreign projects, but most times I don't want to do like the communications and regards payments, because man is just stay on the creative part, let the producer handle the payment. But it's documentary. I'm literally going to be the producer and the cinematographer. So yeah, I did the budget together, the entire budget. I looked at it, I was like, if I say this thing like this, are you sure this woman will just tell me that, "Oh, sorry, we can't afford this. We'll work next time"? I was like, send it regardless. The worst that she say is no.
Yeah,
But you've been able to send it, but it was like huge money.
Yeah.
I sent it to her, and like she just said, "Oh, cool, it will work." I'm like, maybe I did not charge enough. Maybe I did not charge enough. But the beautiful thing about that project, the scope kept increasing to the very last day of the project. So the guy landed in Lagos, and reached out again and said, "Oh, I'm in Lagos now. Can we meet tomorrow to discuss?" But based on my conversation with the person that is coming, the team also needs another cinematographer. They need another team to undo his own side of the story while you focus on the foundation. So I have to cost for that again. It was not like, oh, but for this one now, you don't have to cost like you're costing for the foundation, because we know that you probably are considered that, oh, this one you're costing for the foundation and it's a foundation thing. This one, it's an artist thing, so they have money. So what I got from that is charge man.
Well,
So I did another invoice. I sent. They approved. The project kept increasing. I sent, I think, about 4 invoices
wow.
in the course of that project, and everything was like okay to work.
Were they paying daily or after when you're done?
No, so I mean, if you work before in, you know that the payment to take a long while. At times it's like 10 days, at times it's 5 days, depending on how. So when the guy told me that I was since this is short notice, we'll try and expedite the payments. And the expediting is like 5 days. So I had to even use my own money to finance the entire project. But you also know that they'll pay you. So the money came.
Wow. Did they?
And everybody.
Let me put you on the spot. Did they ask for kickbacks?
No. So they don't. They did not. I don't know whether they. And also because I wasn't working like with the Nigerian office. It was like the office in Seattle. I don't know this pronunciation thing.
Is it Seattle?
Is it Seattle? Okay, I'm right. It was the office in Seattle that reached out through their agents in South Africa. So nobody called to say
how.
Because
I know it comes. I know that what I hear, I may be wrong.
They are not wrong. I shoot commercials for brands.
So you have to do 15%, you have to do 25%. Some people ask for 35. A friend of mine was telling me, I said 35% of the,
I've gotten 50% before. I've gotten someone asked for 50% before. So it's not.
So nobody asked for anything.
No, there was no middleman. It was direct.
Wow. So this is a shout out to Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for maybe the kind of people you hire. I don't know, but for following some due process of standard and not trying to get kickbacks. I think that we need to shout out when people do well, because I know that terrain. It's murky waters. So shout out to you guys, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, for doing the right thing.
Yeah,
that's amazing. So, if you were to go back and change something, what will you change? What will you do better? How will you approach life? Maybe 10 years back, maybe 15 years back. What will you have done better?
15 years back.
Maybe 10 years, maybe 7 years.
Maybe 7 years. I'm not sure I want to change anything though, to be honest. I'm not sure I want to, in terms of my work business. I'm not sure. Maybe I would have probably done a lot more documentation in terms of like financial documentation. But apart from that, I'm not sure. And there's no regrets. Everything has brought me to this. Every experience, every journey has brought me to this point. And I think I'm such a lucky person.
Wow.
Yes, I work hard. I work hard. If you know me, you know I work hard.
I know.
But it's not just by hard work.
I love that he works hard. I love that you work hard. I love the can-do spirit. Like, you can, there's something you said, okay, this situation has happened.
Yeah. I'm always like that. I'm like, I tell myself that I'm a pro-solution person, not a problem person. So when there's a problem, and I apply that across everything I do, life, business, and as a director, you literally have to be pro-solution, because a lot of things will go wrong. But you have to always be
almost.
There's no shoot that is 100% perfect. No, not one. Things will go wrong, but you have to have foresight and be able to think, what, okay, now we are here. How do we get out of here? What are the next steps? And at times you have to, like I said, foresight, see the problem ahead of time.
Yeah.
I know that, okay, this might probably happen. So, for example, if I'm going for a shoot, at times I pick things from the house because I know that I might get to the shoot and XYZ is not there.
Have they ever come in handy? Like those things you pick from the house?
Always. This is always. At times I literally, there was a shoot we did a while ago. I picked all my suits. It just came to my mind that carry your suits just in case, because we're trying to shoot a wardrobe scene, and trust me, we used all the suits, not even one. Used all the suits. So
Prepared.
They didn't come prepared.
You wanted to throw up on them or like
They didn't come prepared, but it always happen. You have to have foresight and figure, what is the best and worst thing that can go wrong, and plan for it. For example, I usually have like a spare memory card in my car, because I might get to a shoot someday and the guys will decide not to carry memory card. You don't want to be explaining to the clients that that's and before shoot I usually like go through everything. Like I don't even try to pack for shoots the day we are going to shoot. I try to pack the night before, so that you're not rushing to pack stuff. So those are like, that's like my attitude to life generally.
Amazing. So there was something you said things were good and suddenly you were the first person to go to a public school.
Yeah.
How will you say one should mitigate against that? How does it not repeat itself?
I mean, I've been having like internal conversations with myself lately, and these are like some of the conversations that I'm having with myself, that what are these things that happened before now? It's not like, and also it also like comes from a perspective of, hope I'm not expecting negativity. So I'm having to find myself strike a balance, because you're almost like, oh, everything is good, and you're thinking, okay, when will things go bad?
But God willing, never.
God willing, never. And if you stay in that mindset, you might almost now call the bad things to yourself. So I've had to constantly tell myself that it will not go bad.
Yes.
As far as I'm doing XYZ, I'm putting the work on my end. So it's a conversation I'm having with myself. But one of the things I've also been able to, that have helped me to do, is to set up systems in place and set up other things that will bring in finances. I mean, before now I was very focused on just doing my filmmaking. So I have like a production company that is doing good. I also have myself as a director, and I'm doing well. But it's not always well all year round. So one of the things I've been able to tell myself to do this year is to figure out other things I can do that necessarily doesn't require like my attention every time, and that can also bring money. So that's why I also started like the sound rental company. So it's also like all these things will help me set up systems in place, because I know when there's system, things will go as planned.
This conversation has been. I'll ask one more question, but one of the reasons I know that you'll constantly be successful is same principles that you had to step back, assess yourself. There's sometimes life happens to people, but we thank God for prayers that we can pray to a God who transcends what life can throw at you, right? So, and when you're hardworking, constantly assessing yourself, and you're prayerful, I think it's a very good mix.
And I think the other thing that is also key to me is community. Maybe my dad had the issue because there ain't like a lot of friends around, they were also successful. Me, I'm very keen of not me alone being successful. I want all my friends to be successful.
Yeah. That's a mindset that will always ensure that you're successful. And now, in fact, I'm just imagining, I may be wrong, you assessing the situation that all of us are shooting. I need to start directing. That will force everybody to step up
Yeah.
and do some other.
Everybody in the six of us,
Yes.
everybody is successful. There's nobody in the six of us that doesn't have a car. There's nobody that's not staying on their own now, and they are not even staying in one bedroom apartment. All of us were staying inside Magodo. All of us, we have a car or cars.
Yes.
Everybody's doing fine. One of us is like the best DP in Nigeria right now. Or one, let me say, so they don't come for me. He's one of the you cannot mention 3 DPs in Nigeria, like director of photography in Nigeria, and not called FedWorks. Joseph is like, he's right, one of the best editors that exist in Nigeria right now. So everybody's doing well. Everybody's doing well.
I love it. Find your community, create your
Like, you cannot even call documentary photographers or filmmaker in Nigeria right now, not call Damilola Onofua. He's constantly on the road working with, if he's not working with UNICEF today, he's working with this, he's in Maduguri the other day. And this, like, those are like my circle. So his energy.
I love it so much. And create a circle. Ensure that you're constantly inspiring each other.
Yeah.
Don't be the only one that is successful in your circle. It doesn't help you anyway. And everybody motivating each other to do better, I think this is so.
And also raise people.
Raise people.
I'm very keen on that. That's why I teach. And whether I like it or not, whether we like it or not, you cannot deny the impact of the class that we've had in the industry.
Yeah.
Being able to turn out great and creative people that are doing awesome, amazing stuff.
Wow.
And that it might have happened without me, but there's a reason why it's happening through me.
Yeah.
There are guys I see, there are guys I met that I know when we met, and I can see their life now, and I just thank God I'm part of that journey, because they've been able to do awesome stuff. There are some of my guys, they are richer than me. One is literally out of Nigeria right now shooting. He'll be back in like a few more days. So, and they've been able to also harness the opportunities. And it's also like what I talked about before is is one of the importance of modeling. When you create a model and people follow, because when they come around, and funny enough, some of them, they've been able to replicate that 6 of us staying together. So I now have like some of my guys that are like 3, they stay together now. They're also doing well. Association. They've been able to buy cars. They've been able to do great work in this space. And so I can't even afford some of them. I can't even hire them to do project right now.
Wow. That is, I really hope that everybody picks a thing or two from this session. I think this is just brilliant. I want to thank you.
Thank you for. I feel honored. I've watched quite a number of. I think I watched the one with Ore. I've watched a lot before that time. I kind of knew I'm going to sit down here someday, but I didn't know it's going to be this close. I was probably picturing me like in 2 years, but I feel honored to be here.
Thank
you. Obviously, you inspired me.
Thank you.
And I am thankful for the gift of access.
Thank you. I want to say thank you for sharing your journey, because it always fascinates me. How does a man know when to, from being a young man to being a man, know when to move, okay, step back, but seeing the mindset now, like there is more. You can step back, assess the situation, we move. And without even, no drama, like no sentiments about how many years you spent learning something. Like, is it time to move? It's time to move. Constantly separating yourself. And, bringing you to where you are. If you were just doing, if you were just editing photos, they will not call you. They will not call you to come and shoot a documentary. I want to thank you for being who you are.
Thank you.
Constantly pushing. It inspires me. I've told you multiple times. It's not just a camera thing. It does inspire me. And it's not even about the amount of money you make. In fact, from when
I've never made money. I don't have money.
yet, you will have
Yes.
money, you give out money. So, like it inspires me. So I want you to. We always round off our sessions by you talking to that young guy who is just starting out. The young Oluwadabest or the young whatever you insert your name, right? What advice do you have for that person? The second thing we do to round up is who are those who have inspired you, and you just give like a shout out, to them. You look into this is your
That list to be long.
okay, well, as many as you can remember, just say just bullet points of maybe first is advice to that young African that is looking, maybe is that young African, male or female, is probably where you were 7 years ago. Where you're thinking, okay, what do I do? How do I, or 10 years ago, oh, I'm in 100 level, I don't know. Where do I start from? So what advice will you give those young Africans?
I think I'll just say the thing that comes to my mind right now is put in the work. It will get better. It will get bigger. Yeah, but you have to put in the work. You have to put in the work. There's no shortcut about putting in the work. You have to constantly put in the work, constantly show up, even when it doesn't seem like. But the more you put in the work, the better it gets. I think that's the only thing that comes to my mind right now. Amidst every other thing I could have said.
Put in the work. Sorry, I'm just. So it says put in the work. One of the things I've learned is have that can-do spirit. Have that can-do. I can do this. Like, okay, the negative situation has happened. Do I just resign to this state, or how can I transcend this place? Because it won't get any easier. And let me ask a question. How much can you save to get $1 billion? Like, okay, I'm going to cut cost, I'm going to cut life, I'm going to ensure that I reduce how much. Can you save to $1 billion? You may need to step up, and I think that's a lesson I've seen in his life. Then learn. YouTube is not just for watching movies. Movies are great. But learn. Use that same platform that is free right now. Some of the things that are free now cost a lot 20 years ago, 30 years ago, cost a lot of money, to be a part of. So use that same platform to learn voraciously. From his story, you can see that he went to University of YouTube and University of Life. Then have like minds. That's another major point. Have like minds. Don't be the only one successful. Have people that spur you on, people that motivate you, where you can grow together and be so successful. When animals hunt in a pack, it's easier to get the game, even several games. So please have like minds, have an association, and you're the average of your 5 friends. And like he said, every one of them is successful, each and every one of them. There's not much to add to this, and we've come to this end of this episode. Well, I have one more advice to you that can change your life. Like, share, subscribe to this channel, and hit the bell button. And I promise you, with each episode, you'll be the first set of persons to watch it, or you will be the first person to watch it, and hopefully it changes your life, which is the whole essence of this platform. So you look to that camera. I know those people that will be saying that, yeah, you've thanked them in private, but you've at that moment.
Shout out to Dami for recommending me for that very first interview. that introduced me to this entire journey. I mean, you're my guy. I will still talk to you today. Thank you. Thank you. Shout out to Luto Singbella for taking that chance and giving me that first class on video editing. I probably won't be here without that class. Shout out to Damilola Onofora for allowing me to squat in your house when I was running away from Mayor. Shout out to Lekon Aremo. Thank you for giving us that room for 6 months. Backstory, we've still not paid the 6 months rent till now. Shout out to Timmy Davis. Thank you. Thank you for that class. Thank you for the gift of access. Learned a lot from you. A lot just by observing. Shout out to my guys. You guys inspire me. Joseph, Kingsley, Fed. There's one more person. Dami. I said Dami before. Dami, Lekon, Kunle, Ayobami. Shout out to all of you. You inspire me a lot. You make me want to chase more. You make me want to pursue more. And shout out to my wife. For always wanting me to be better. And yeah, shout out to myself. Let me do like Snoop Dogg. Shout out to myself for chasing this life, for seeing the possibility and chasing it.
Man, thank you. Thank you once again.